She started talking about 2022. I feel it.
2022. I'm telling you, I'm here for it. I got my jersey. I'm wearing it to vote tomorrow.
So, Mary, you can
trying to see if we're
you can hit
which I believe we are. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and connect this to my other pages.
Okay.
But you ladies are welcome to introduce yourselves. Vanessa, you want to take that away from me, please?
Good afternoon again, everyone. This is your girl, Vanessa Maddox, live here on Facebook, representing the awesome and amazing, the real suburban housewives for Biden Harris, which will soon be known as the, what is it, Mary? I forgot already. Got too much on my mind.
It's a secret, but
okay.
Suburban Housewives, that name is changing.
Yes, the name is going to be changing, and we're changing the name because this current group is going to take us through November 3rd, and then after November 3rd, we're going to continue this fight. It doesn't stop after Tuesday, people. It just doesn't. All right. So we have a special treat for you all today. On the line, we have Miss Jeannine Lee Lake. And you all know how I do. I will find the most dynamic, smart, talented, outgoing, enterprising people, and I will put them out there. And I don't even care if they're ready or not. But guess what? Miss Lake was ready when we called. She on that phone and she said, "Who in the heck are you two? And what do you got going on?" And we told her, and she said, "I'm ready. I want to talk to your people." And here she is, live from Muncie, Indiana. I'm going to let her introduce herself, but folks, she's dynamic and she's smart and she's running for Congress. Yes, Miss Jeannine Lee Lake. Talk to the people.
Hey there. Thank you. First, giving honor to God. Can I do that on this Sunday?
Absolutely.
Definitely the head of my life. And I thank God because I believe today he orchestrated this great event with you and Mary, Vanessa. And I certainly appreciate the suburban housewives of Biden Harris, representing Biden Harris. And I'm thankful to be here today. And yes, my name is Jeannine Lee Lake, and I'm running for Congress in Indiana's 6th Congressional District. My opponent is the vice president's brother. His name is Mike Pence. I ran in 2018, and I ran, quite honestly, I mean, the story is this. My daughter was 17 years old, getting ready to go into adulthood. She's my only girl, my only baby. She's the baby of the family. And she and I were having a discussion after Donald Trump won. And one of the things that she told me, she said, "Mom," she said, "do you think that," she's like, "I don't think the president likes us." She said, "I don't think he likes us. I feel like the rhetoric that's coming out of his mouth, is very derogatory toward women and minorities." And she's the president of her, at the time, of her Student Black Union. And, I got to talking about it, and just within the next few months in 2016 and into 2017, we had talked and had more conversations, and I found myself extremely bothered by the fact that my daughter, who's biracial, she's adopted, was going to go into adulthood as a young woman and as an African-American woman, thinking that the leader of the free world thought we were second-class citizens. That's exactly what she thought. And I began to think, first of all, it made me mad because I'm a grizzly mom, just like, a lot of people are, and protective of our children. Yes. And it just really bothered me. And so I began to think, what can I do to fight back? I'm already somewhat of a community leader. I've been a journalist for 30 years. I'm very involved in some of the things, community programming that goes on here. I'm chair of a group called Feed My Sheep. We feed about 2,000 people every Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we feed families and we help the underprivileged. But I wanted to do something more in terms of policy and change and legislation. And so I looked at the races that were around me. Never run for public office before. And truth be told, until then, I was really never interested. But I was thinking, okay, the people that are in charge are making my family and my daughter feel like, she's thought of as less than. And I didn't like that. So I looked at the races. There's a couple of races here, the state representative and state senator, that were really already held by some really great Democratic women. And, when there's great people already in those positions, that's nothing that I want to mess with. So, but I looked at the U.S. representative race, and there's a guy named Luke Messer that was trying to become senator, and that spot was open. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go for it. There were no women that were running for Democratic office at the time, and no people of color on the Democrat side. And on the Republican side, there were definitely no women, and there were no people of color over there. So I got in. I beat out 5 guys at that time in 2018 to win. And then the opponent on the other side, much to my surprise, ended up being Greg Pence. When he got in, the minute he got in October of 2017, I knew that he would win. And he did win. And so then the next year in the primary, it was me against him. He refused to debate me at that time and still refuses to debate me. I won the primary, although I did not prevail in 2018. He had about $4 million. I had about maybe 60, 70,000. And so, but I ran a good race. I did. I knocked on doors. I went to every single county. We have 19 counties in my district. 70%, my district is 93% white. And I went everywhere. I knocked on people's doors. Even though this district is only registered 25% Democrat, I got for the first time out, I got 36% of the vote, which meant I pulled about 11% of the Republican vote. And so then I told the Lord, I said, God, if I get 35% my first time out, then I'll run again. And I got 35.6%. So, awesome. Right. Awesome. So I thought, well, I mean, that was what I asked the Lord. I said, if I get 35%, I'll do it again. And so I ran in 2020. I got 70% of the Democratic vote to become the nominee a second time in 2020. And so, I'm in again. And even though it's been difficult with COVID, because I actually had COVID back in the spring. My sister had COVID. My dad's had COVID. My brothers have had COVID. People in my immediate family have had it. It has been a struggle. But by the grace of God, when we are able to get out, we have gotten out. And I think we were in a really good race. We're now at the point where my opponent has been running ads on television. He's dropped $1 million in the last 2 weeks, and I know we're close. And so we think we're about 42%. And so we've been pushing because we need to get, there's another guy that's in there too. He's a libertarian, so he could change up things a little bit. So yeah, it's anybody's game right now.
Well, let me share something with you. So I had COVID, and so did my husband.
Wow. Okay.
My case was really bad, really, really bad. So I'm here because God said he wasn't finished with me. That's the only reason I'm here. So I can empathize with you on that. And also when I ran, when we were talking to you earlier, I shared that when I ran for Leesburg Town Council, we won my race, and I beat out 2 male opponents as well. And I became the first Black woman in the history of Leesburg. Leesburg was founded in 1758. I was the first.
You go, girl. I love it.
Thank you. So I wanted to pass on that positive energy to you and tell you that it can be done. It can be done. They can continue to throw millions and millions of dollars down the drain on those stupid, worthless ads all they want to. But guess what? If this is for you, it's going to be for you, period. And if by any chance it doesn't happen, you can run again.
Exactly.
Right? And you can keep, or you can find another office to run for. They're not going to stop you. No. All right. You are apparently a formidable opponent, or he wouldn't be afraid to debate you.
Right.
All right. So you mean to tell me the big bad Pence is afraid to debate Miss Jeannine, why is that?
Out of nowhere, because I don't have the Pence name. I don't have the $4 million, Yeah.
So that shows me that you are very much formidable. Okay. So you have a story of why you ran. I have a story of why I ran. So tell the folks, tell us and tell the people, what are your top priorities? What do you want to do for the people of Muncie in your district? And tell us what cities are in your district.
Well, the sixth district is the largest district in the state of Indiana. It encompasses
Mm,
19 counties. It goes from where I'm at, which is Muncie, Delaware County, and the Randolph County area, which is a little bit central to northern part of the state, all the way down to the Ohio River. It butts up against like Ohio, Cincinnati, that area as well.
mhm,
And even though it's red and rural, there are also 3 or 4 different pockets of urban areas, including Columbus, Bartholomew County,
mhm,
Richmond, Wayne County, and then Delaware County, Muncie, where I'm at. Which is those three counties are where most of the votes are at. And so we've fixed on mostly a lot of our campaigning in that area. In terms of what I can bring to the table, I believe I not only am a person that has come from a background where I remember being poor. I have 12 brothers and 2 sisters. My mom and dad were married for 46 years.
wow,
We have been a family of faith, and we've been a blessed and favored family. But I grew up, sometimes not knowing where my next meal was. My dad always worked, but we certainly weren't wealthy. We didn't have health care a lot of the times, and so I know what that means. When you're praying that your gas will get you all the way to where you need to be, and you're looking at that gas tank. I know what it means when you're sitting by the getting ready to go to Walmart, and you're wondering if that debit card is going to go through.
absolutely.
And so I have that experience, real life experience. But also, some of my top things that I discuss are things that are prevalent and concerns throughout the district. Everything from the fact that we need universal health care. We have to make sure that the Obamacare, ACA, Affordable Care Act is not abolished, is not repealed. I know the Supreme Court's going to be looking at it again at the end of this week. In the middle of a pandemic, my opponent has been behind efforts to repeal the Obamacare, to take away healthcare from 33 million Americans and 400,000 Hoosiers. It's appalling to me that right now that's a concern of theirs without having anything to replace it with. So I look at the fact that Joe Biden was with Obama. Those two were able to get universal health care. Now where we're at right now, though, is that they've gutted it so bad that the premiums are high, the access is low, prescription costs are skyrocketed. We need to get in and really see, where is Obamacare at right now? What does it look like? What do we need to do to fix those issues? Mend it, not end it. I also think there needs to be, a component of Medicaid in there too, that would help other groups as well. The federal minimum wage right now, it's still $7.25 an hour. The most recent bill before Congress was to raise it at least to 10, and my opponent again did not think that was worthy, even though he's worth $12 million. It really needs to actually be, I'm one of the ones that wanted to start at $15 and then graduated up, to $23 an hour. Economists say that's really what it needs to be at. Now I know there's some people that say, there's no jobs that are actually even paying $7.25 an hour. That's not necessarily true. There's a lot of kids that are working for that amount, and to me, their time is worth as much as anybody else's. They're Americans, they're of age, they're given their time and effort, and absolutely no way should it be $7.25 an hour for some of these multi-billion-dollar companies. So that equality issues, obviously, here in the state of Indiana, one of the things that they're working at down at the State House, which I know is not my bailiwick, but I still support it because it goes on up, is we need a better hate crime bill. It's so watered down, the one that we have here, and so I would certainly lend support to that. as well as women's issues. One of the things that has been talked about has been the Violence Against Women Act, which my opponent again did not support. This is an act that protects sexual assault victims, domestic violence victims. It encompasses the boyfriend loophole that let those guys go free. When Joe Biden and Senator Orrin Hatch created this bill back in the 90s, I think. So those are just 3 or 4 of the things that are on my heart. I'm a proud pro-choice, even though I'm a Christian. I'm a strong and proud Christian progressive Democrat, but I'm very pro-choice. I think that everyone should have a right to govern their own bodies, and I am doing everything I can to express the fact that to have, lower abortion rates, we need better access to birth control, better access to health care. We need more education. And that's how, Democrats have been able to lower the abortion rates, much more lower than in Republican administration. So those are just 3 or 4 things that that are part of my platform. And most of all, above everything, is the idea that I know we need leaders that are calm, compassionate, and courageous. We need, and I think the best person for the job right now is a woman, because we've had these feckless men that really are just afraid to speak up and be strong, and I'm not afraid of either.
Well, they don't understand how to be a woman, how it is to be a woman. So that's the first thing. And you have to stand in facet of life. And as I was going through your website, I noticed that one of your major platforms is education. And when we talk about what I call the domino effect on things, right? So if I'm not educated, I'm not going to get a good job or a job that pays a living wage where I'm not making $7, $8 an hour and trying to live in the wealthiest county per capita in the United States, Loudoun County, where we live. Okay. So I'm in the recruiting business. I find people jobs for a living. Okay. So when I talk to the average Joe American who is high school educated and they have a wife and 2 kids and a dog, and they can't even pay their light bill, but they're living in this county, it can't be done.
It can't.
And so these politicians who were born with silver spoons in their mouths, they don't know how much a gallon of milk costs. Don't come in my face and tell me you're going to help me, because you're not going to help me, because you can't relate to me.
Right.
All right. These are dominoes. Okay. So if I'm not educated, I can't get a good job, I can't buy a home. So how am I going to buy into the American dream? How am I going to do that? All right. So education is tantamount to the success in America. If I can get that piece of paper, or I can get a good paying trade, or maybe even join a union, I can buy a home.
Right.
So this is what we have to teach our fellow Americans. And I just want to get your quick perspective on education.
Well, I've got a couple of things. And first of all, thank you for saying that, because it's so important. I'm convinced that the reason why our opposition doesn't necessarily want to educate people, though, is because they don't want to see them. Most of the people that are liberal, I guess, and maybe a little bit more democratic in their views, are those that are not educated. And they're not wanting to provide, tools and programming and laws that make it easier for people to be educated. And it's cyclical, and it doesn't make a difference what race you are. They just don't want, in my opinion, I just don't believe that there's a large push toward education.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
they're just it's gone on too long. Even in Indiana, I'm like, do you realize that even during the pandemic, we literally didn't even have adequate broadband internet here. So when our kids were forced home, you know, we had so many empty spots where literally these kids were going to walk to McDonald's to hook up to internet because they lived in areas that they couldn't get on to even go to school.
To do their
Those
to
things
do their
are not
homework, to
right.
do their homework so they can pass the class, so they can get the diploma or the degree. But yet you go backward on those dominoes, and they have to go to McDonald's to get internet access.
Right.
And you
So
think
so
that's not
who's
an accident.
so whose job is to fix that?
Well,
That's the foundation. That's
right,
where that's where everything starts and stems from. This
right.
is what people don't realize. Start at the schoolhouse.
Yes.
Okay.
Start at the schoolhouse.
So
Give
so
people.
I've been educating adults in the training and development field for 30 years.
Wow.
And I'm also in social media. So when I tell people that children should have a LinkedIn account in the 5th grade, they look at me like I'm crazy.
Oh, absolutely. You're not
Okay. They should have 3 things
right.
in the 5th grade: a resume, a LinkedIn account, and an email address. That's
Absolutely.
what they should have. And someone said to me, 5th grade? Don't you think that's a little? No, I don't. If I could start at kindergarten, I would. Particularly,
That's a
particularly children of color,
I know it.
because we are born, no, they have us born at a disadvantage.
Oh yeah.
We don't come into the world at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
That's where they want us. Okay. Whoever they is, we know who they is.
Mhm.
So education is the foundation. So, Mary, any questions?
Can
Because
I
I
can I
could
say
talk to
one more thing? Can I say one more thing real quick about education?
Sure,
One,
sure.
and there's a couple things too. One of the things I would propose is that interest-free loans. Not only interest-free loans, it doesn't make sense that the government's making money off people that are trying to get better, to stay in America and do better and become more successful. Why not interest-free loans at all? Why not the idea that we expand financial aid? We have more access to Pell Grants. You know, the restrictions. Who are those? Who decides all that? You know, who decides? You know, who's going to be able to get it? It makes no sense to me that every single Pell Grant or every single financial aid decision is tied to what your parents make. What if your parents don't file their taxes? You don't get financial.
Absolutely.
What if your
Absolutely.
parents are late? You don't get financial aid. I mean, we've seen we work with people at our church, countless students that literally get there late because their parents did something filed late or didn't file. You know, we have to consider tuition free community college for everybody. So those are just a couple of things. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you didn't at all. But back to the foundation, education. My parents had a 2nd grade and an 8th grade education.
Mhm.
I put I taught myself how to fill out college applications. I went on all of my interviews by myself. My parents were at work.
Right.
Okay. I filled out all those college applications, and I got accepted to 6 schools, and I chose the one I wanted
Wow.
without my parents' intervention. So people have to realize generationally, you have to realize where people are at. Okay.
Right.
So if I had my way, every high school junior would apply for a security clearance. And by the time they got out of high school, they would have a secret clearance. Okay.
Yes, we need to
Hello.
start preparing these kids.
Let's think outside the box,
I'm
people.
telling you, yes.
All
I'm
right.
for that.
I I recruit and hire cleared professionals every day of the week. Okay. When you get that clearance, you can go anywhere in the world you want to get any job.
Wow.
All right. So let's America's got to wake up, and we have to dig into our toolbox and find unconventional solutions to everyday problems.
Right.
Period. So whoever's listening to this, don't at me unless you got some solutions. Because I'm going to say what I would
For it.
say.
I love it. I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell me what your perspective is on the the women's movement and impact on this 2020 going into 22 elections.
Well, I see the hashtag all the time that says the females are the future, and we represent, I believe, even though we're 51% of the population, we only represent about 18 to maybe 21% of those in Congress. We have literally, I don't know if it's because we're not running and we run and then we don't win, or we're just not running enough women. But I feel as if this is the last cycle for that to happen. I do not believe under any circumstances that we're going to cede this country and our individual states any longer to men who really have, really run this nation to the ground in a lot of ways. We are more multi-thinking, I believe. We're multitaskers. My husband says all the time that he thinks that women are better people. And I'm not saying that everybody is, but he thinks that we're better. Maybe we're better leaders because maybe we're not as selfish, or I don't know. I'm not saying across the board, and I don't mean to be, sexist in any ways, but I think it's time for us to try, because I tell you what, we might not have all the answers, but to me, I think we've got some better ideas, and we have real world experience in terms of budgeting. I mean, I'm on a budget. I have a budget for my food, for utilities, for college. And I think that we think differently. I think it's definitely our season. It's definitely the season of the Black woman, for sure. I feel it. Even in Indiana, I feel it. I mean, like I said before, I don't know. I was surprised at the acceptance level here in Indiana of me. But for the second time, and they told me, because this is another thing too I was going to say, is that when I got in the first time, I've told everybody that I can that I was going to run 3 times. And I knew immediately that I was going to, because I had seen Mike Pence before the Pence name was a thing. He ran 3 times before he got into Congress. Senator Joe Donnelly, before he became a senator, he ran 3 times before he got into Congress. Phil Sharp, who was the last Democrat to hold the seat 25 years ago, he ran 3 times before he won. So I was thinking, okay, if it takes the white guys with a little bit of more money than I've got and maybe a little bit more name recognition 3 times, it's probably going to take the girl from Crawfordsville, Indiana with the brown face. It might take her 2 or 3 times, but I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. I do not think of myself in any way, shape, or form as lacking. I'm running the same game that they're running, and I believe that I'm on the right side of justice. And I think women, by virtue of the this past summer, the Black Lives Matter events, the equity marches, the equality marches, the prayer vigils, I think they have proven that they're willing to come to the table with change too, and that's women across the board.
Well, I want to go back to something you said that your husband said, and he was absolutely right. We are better humans. He's right.
I agree. I'm here for
you tell your husband, I see, he's right. Okay. And here's the other thing. This was very important to me when I ran. We're raising 2 sons, 16 and 18. And let's see, 17. So they were, this was 3 years ago when I ran. And what was important to me more so than anything else is that my 2 Black sons saw their mother get
Mhm.
get out, run, win, and make an impact. That was why I ran.
Isn't that
Okay.
great?
So it's important that our children, especially our young Black men, sons,
Mhm.
see their mothers doing it, doing the thing, because that instills a certain level of self esteem and confidence in them naturally.
Yeah,
All right. So my sons, they know.
right.
They know how to treat women. They know how to open doors for women. They know how to open car doors. They know how to say, yes, ma'am. I make them say it.
Love that. I love
Okay.
that.
So we, as powerful, accomplished women, we got a lot of tools in our toolkit that we can use to not only do what we do in the public arena, but also in our homes. My kids know how to grocery shop. They
Good.
come,
Yeah.
they kind of know how to cook. Okay, little supervision on that. And they know how to wash their clothes. My children will not go to college. Nope. And meet these tired mama's boys that I met
Right.
that don't know how to do nothing but ask to take care of them. Not on my watch.
Good.
These are important facts.
Yeah.
So we know that there is a clear kindergarten to prison pipeline. How do we stop that? How do you plan on stopping that?
Well, there is a clear prison, school to prison pipeline. I think little Black girls are 3 times more likely to be sent to the principal's office than little white girls in
Mm-hmm.
elementary. Um, the level of the numbers of Black kids and Black boys that are sent to juvenile delinquency programs is significantly higher than their counterparts. Um, we have to first of all recognize racial bias, and I think that for the first time, at least in my lifetime, I feel as if those conversations are being had. Here in Muncie, we had for the first time for the first time in 2020, we have a commission and a committee that is looking at those very specific things, not only at Ball State University, which is the dominant college in our city, but then also in the school system, the Muncie Delaware County school system. So um, they're starting to recognize that that is a thing, and not just based on we think this is going on, but really based on hardcore facts and the idea that these privatized prison systems um, that are built and making billions of dollars. They're not building those with the intent of just having an empty building. They're going to find somebody to get them to fill them, and unfortunately, um, you know, in large numbers, the preponderance of inmates and those incarcerated are brown and Black people.
Right.
So the recognition, first of all, and I have to say this, and Vanessa, you probably were maybe, by virtue of your background in government, but
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit I was a little late coming into the full awareness until this year of the blatant. I mean, because I knew it was anecdotal, but I've done some research, and I give this credit to a lot of my white liberal female friends who have given me statistics in terms of the rates of incarceration of Black men. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and just how deeply it goes, to the point where I didn't realize, just on its face, it literally is modern day enslavement. And
Absolutely.
intentional, and
Absolutely.
it makes you really sick when you go in. I've seen some of the programming on Netflix and things like that, but it's nauseating. And so I want to be part of that. Let's hit the reset button. I don't have to copy. We don't have to degrade anybody. Let's just hit the reset button. Let's
Yes.
start again, and let's tackle these issues of
So,
systemic racism.
so speaking of what you're saying about how many of our Black boys and young men and young men and older men are incarcerated. My mother-in-law was a social worker who worked in the prisons
Wow.
system
Wow.
years, and she has some stories.
Mhm.
Okay, and she's this 5 foot so soft-spoken, demeanored woman. And you can even imagine her walking in a prison every day. I mean, I couldn't, but she did that. And she has some stories about her experiences working in that prison system. So I can attest to that. And also, the movie 13
That's yeah.
taught me a lot more than I thought I knew about the,
True.
yes.
It's
And it
eye-opening.
was, and let me tell you, it was hard to watch, Jeannine. It took me a week to watch the whole documentary. It was hard. But I recommend everyone to watch that first before you read any of those other books. Watch that. Because it's going to give you the cold hard truth, right? So lightning round questions.
Okay.
Did you get any support from Emily's list?
No.
Okay. Did you get any support to any organizations similar to Emily's list in Indiana?
No. Because if you don't have $1 million in your coffers or are that already starting, they will not endorse you. Which I didn't know.
Okay.
I thought, okay, well, I'm a great candidate. I'm here for it. I've got people on the ground. We've got a volunteer group. Nope. I didn't.
Okay.
But
Well,
I believe I will in 2022.
okay. So if anybody from Emily's list is listening to this video, you all need to change that.
That's just
And
wrong.
you to change it quickly because of the fact that they are putting a monetary requirement on helping women run for office means that Black and brown, indigenous, and marginalized groups of women are being left out, Emily's list.
Yes, we are. Yes, we
Don't
are.
play with me.
I looked at the list, and I can tell you the list don't look like us.
And they expect us to vote time and
There's
time
a few,
again, year
there's a
after year.
people in there.
And they expect Black women to save the world and vote for their candidates who have the coffers, but
Yep.
yet and still they didn't support Jeannine Lee Lake in a historic race. Give me a break. I'm calling y'all. All right, I got that. All right, they know.
Thank you.
They can't say I didn't tell them. All right, now Mary's get ready to kill me, but I'm gonna make a declaration. I think that Mary and I and everyone connected to our group and any resource that I have right now, and I got a lot of them, I want us to symbolically adopt Jeannine Lee Lake and the city of Muncie, Indiana, and put our support and resources and whatever we have available behind you, no matter if you win or lose. That's what I think we should do.
Well, that's a
Man,
done deal from the conversation from this morning, that the three of us had this morning, and why we really wanted to introduce you. I know when you posted in the group, you got a lot of people commented and responded to your post. And so that's one reason why you're here. Whatever happened on Tuesday, we're connected. That's for sure. So
You guys didn't want to make me cry today, did you?
whether it is something that we can do for you now, speak up and do not be shy.
do not.
One, do not hope, because you get what you ask for.
Yes.
That's why we are where we are right now, because they wanted the king and that's what they got. But I'm not gonna go there right now. So you don't ask for anything, you don't get anything. You need people to make phone calls, you need people to text, ask for it. you need donations, ask for it. You got that now. I don't speak as far as 2022, but we got you in 2022.
Absolutely.
Heck with Emily's list. We will be Emily. We'll be Mary's list. How about that?
We'll be Mary / Vanessa's list. How's that?
How about that?
Don't give me no ideas because I'll go by the URL.
Girl, it's when you said, you didn't see when I came back on screen? Did you see that? I was doing something with my son, and I heard you say that you have to have a pocketbook size of $1 million to get on that list. You didn't see how fast I came. Replay it back when you get a chance. Just replay that back.
This is the truth. I mean, it really.
So,
what Black woman do you know that's going to start out with that? I'm like, you know, I've got resources, but that's
none of us but Sheila Johnson can start out with that amount. Okay.
Thank you.
And she may not even want to do that. So here's the deal. And I'm going to talk to Mary about this further. But we need to go ahead and start a PAC.
Yes.
And we need to start a PAC for Black female candidates, Indigenous female candidates, women of color female candidates, and our white sisters and our Asian sisters that are true allies.
True allies. And
we're going to start a PAC, and we're going to start at $10. How's that, Emily's list?
Amen.
You know it's crazy
because we do not want to exclude.
You don't want to exclude
anyone.
Right.
The word is inclusion. Everybody wants to throw around that word, but they don't truly know what it means.
They don't practice it.
They don't practice it. Okay? They don't uplift their sisters. They don't affirm their sisters.
Only if you have $1 million in your pocket.
And this is what they do. Now, starting tomorrow, I'm gonna find out how I'm gonna start my $10 PAC.
I love it, the $10 PAC.
And then we're gonna do it because this is ridiculous. Women are natural born nurturers.
Yep.
We do everything. Okay. And because we do everything, women also by huge percentages control the purse strings in the home.
Yes.
What's the percentage of single parent, woman-led single households in America? Last time I checked, it was 70%.
God damn, where's Jamie when we need her?
So let's say 70% of American households are led by single women. We control the purse strings.
Yep.
Okay. So therefore, the hand that rocks the cradle, you know the rest.
Rules the world.
Let's do it. Okay. So I want to adopt you and the city of Muncie as a social experiment. Mary, you ain't got no choice. You're going to be.
Goodness. You guys are something. I'm really overwhelmed. You got me speechless for a second. I
whatever you need
earlier, but I really appreciate it.
But whatever you need. And guess what? People are going to see this video and they're going to share it across the world. And then what I hope is going to happen is everybody like Jeannine Lee is going to call us and say how we get in that. How we get in that. How we sign up. And because that's how that
if they have a heart to run, because running is not easy. I've been running for 18 months.
I'm here to tell you.
It's not easy. You have to put your life on hold.
One of the hardest, most exhausting, mind-numbing things I've ever done in my life, but it's absolutely worth it.
And it's hateful.
Yes, that too.
Okay. So what I hope is that people that are going to watch and share this video will call us up and say, hey, I saw your video with the lady in Muncie. I'm out in the Netherlands in Oklahoma and I want to run. We say, okay, come on over here to our $10 PAC.
Right.
Because there's too many seats out there we have people that's been sitting in for decades. There's just too much out there. unexplored territories out there that people can run and win.
Right.
But they don't know how, they don't have the money, they don't have the resources, they don't even know where to get started. But the best ideas come from the people who are the boots on the ground. Right. You can't live in your mansions and own your hotels and think that you know how to redo an Affordable Health Care Act that's working for people that I know that did not even have health care before this Obamacare became into being. I know people that did not have health care. I know people, friends of mine that close to me, that did not have health care and told me I now have health care because of Obamacare. But you want to sit in your glass house and tell people what they can't do. And now you are making my daughter upset at college because at the y'all want to take away the coverage for parents to be able to cover their kids in college. They're attacking these kids in college again. Not only do they overcharge them with the fees for tuition, not only has the pandemic made them like her have to pay for her room and board, even though she wasn't there. We still had to pay for her apartment and she wasn't there for months and they refused to give them the money back. She still had to pay for her tuition. She still had to pay for her apartment and she's here. So now what you want to tell me is when she moves on and she goes to law school, you want to tell me I can't cover her on my insurance?
Right.
Because you want to dismantle it?
Well,
and it's not just me, it's other families like mine. It's got to be more than just me.
Right. Of course there is.
Yeah.
Of course there is.
That is awful.
It's awful.
So
it's discouraging to these kids. Let me just say this real quick, Vanessa. It's really discouraging to these kids because one, this is a generation that's not really used to, even though they're on their phones and they're in their own little worlds, they still know how to socialize and get that socialization with each other, and they're not able to do that as much as they have been. We're not equipped, not only educationally like y'all brought in before, but they don't even have the mental and the health resources to deal with some of these kids. Like I work in school, in addition to my businesses, I work in school. So I see some things. And then I have kids in all different levels of education, And so I hear what's happening with some of, not even their friends, but just kids that they're around. And kids talking, you hear stories and things like that. It's not easy on them being cooped up. And what is he doing? Nothing. We need people who want to run for office like yourself, who want to fight for the Affordable Care Act. Because the last thing these college students need is one more notch in some politician's belt to make life worse for them.
Harder.
That's just crazy.
So
that's a heart-wrenching story, Mary. Like that is heart-wrenching when you think about it.
Horrible.
And you're right, you're not the only one.
I'm not the only one.
Right, but that's your story. That's your daughter. She's trying to do good, trying to go to law school, and then having to worry about, all of these costs and there's an eviction crisis that's just around the corner. I mean, it's going to be a crunch of millions and millions of those same stories.
She should not have to be calling me and saying, Mom, I need to get all my physical exams done because I don't know if I'm going to have health care. That's ridiculous.
That's right.
That is not a phone call I wanted to get as a parent.
No.
I don't know about anybody else. I know it's not a phone call I want to get. You're studying for exams. You're studying for your LSAT. The last thing you should be worried about is health care? Seriously? It should be free for college kids anyway. Let's talk about that.
I always find it interesting that the people that say they love America, they seem to hate Americans. I mean, think about it. We're the home of the brave.
Yeah, the main culprit is occupying the people's house right now.
Right.
I'm convinced he hates America and Americans. I'm convinced.
I'm convinced too.
So, by the way, before I forget, because we're running up against the hour and we want to be respectful of your time, Jeannine.
Yeah.
But want to mention is that there are several organizations right now that support women that are running for office. They actually have training programs in place that will bring you in and train you on how to run for office. And so what I'm prepared to do is get that list, and I'm going to share it, but I'm going to send it to you. And we're going to keep adding to it. All right. Because all women need is information.
That's it.
That's all we
Right.
You just give us that information and we're going to take it and run with it. We don't need a whole lot.
No.
Right.
Right.
We need you to cut this red tape and get the hell out of our way so we can live our. That's what we need. Okay. Now, here's the other thing. Does Phil Sharp know you're running?
I believe he does, but if you could get in touch with him or his people, have them call me. Even tomorrow would be nice, or even the next day, or when I'm running again in 2022.
You better believe I'm going to get in touch with his
I would
people.
so love it.
Yes, ma'am. I will make a mission for you.
I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. This man that's in office right now, not only will he not debate me, he has refused for 2 years to hold a public town hall. He won't even talk to his constituents. I have a little joke. I said, Greg Pence was social distancing long before pandemic hit America. He is not interested in any way.
Oh, so Pence is pulling a Barbara Comstock.
Oh, is that your
Yeah, that's the one that was hiding from her constituents before she got beat to death by Jennifer Wexton in the last election.
Wow.
She wouldn't hold a town hall. She wouldn't talk to constituents. She wouldn't return phone calls. And then when she lost, she just disappeared. Nobody's seen her anywhere.
Poof.
So
Just
this
like
this is what cowards do.
Right.
When you're a coward and you don't have a platform and you don't have integrity to stand on, you retreat and you hide.
Yep.
But yet you want somebody to support you and send you money. Oh, okay. Is that what we're doing in 2020? I don't think so.
No, we're done.
Oh,
yeah.
We've got a couple of people that chimed in when we were talking about healthcare. Lots of comments about that. So that is a hot topic.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Oh, and a friend of mine said that same with Mooney here in West Virginia. So it's not singularized. This is everywhere. This is happening. You have people that are in these positions and they need to go.
Yes.
They need to go. It's time for some fresh, new ideas. You don't have to be young. It's not saying older people don't have ideas, because older people have wisdom and experience.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to embrace change and you're not willing to embrace new ideas and concepts and let go of the things that are not working anymore, clearly there are tons of things that are not working anymore. And it just needs to go.
Right.
Like 45, but I digress.
I'm with you on that. You know what? Another thing I know we got to go, but I just want to say I was when he refused to denounce white supremacy on that last 2 debates ago, and then told the Proud Boys to stand by and stand down. That was
I caught that when he said it.
Lowest point. It was just the lowest point. It felt like it's like,
Mhm.
okay, just in case y'all thought for a second that maybe I was going to go the other way, I'm not. It's time for him to go.
He's got to go. And his last and I'm not going to bring this up because I'm not going to start the conversation, Vanessa. I promise you, I'm not going to start the conversation. I promise you. Texas and those vehicles last night or yesterday afternoon, whatever it was to cause him to call off his tour in Texas, because they chased the bus out of Texas and they must have tapped or tagged a car that ended up going in a different direction. So there was an accident, I believe, with another vehicle. Listen, that's crazy. And what is crazier is that when you have someone is supposed to be in office, someone who is supposed to be a representative of the country and what we hold dear and true, tweet out that he loves Texas and makes a mockery of that situation? Is that what you want your children to see? Because your children, and I'm speaking to the audience, your children are on Twitter.
Yeah.
Your children are on Facebook. Your children are on Snapchat. And they darn sure are on TikTok. And that is all over TikTok. Is that what you want them to see? Is voting for your party really that important to you? Because I know it's a bunch of Republicans out there that have not voted yet. So when you put your color in that dot because you're a Republican, you have to really vote for what is right and what is true. And what is right and what is true is not in him. Because he is everything I don't want my kids to be. He's everything I don't want for them. I don't even want them to know him. I don't want them to see him. I don't want them to study him. I don't want them to read about. I wish there was a way we could take him out of the history books, because we don't need our children exposed to that. And I'm off my soapbox.
So let me add something to that, Mary.
Yes, I needed to hear that. Yes.
You said something important. You said people's children don't need to see what happened in Texas. But guess what? Not only do they not need to see it, but their parents who are supporters of that man, and I use that term man loosely for him, how are you as a parent going to sit down and explain to your children why you support him?
They won't.
Oh, well, Susie, we supporting him because he lowered our taxes, but you go ahead and ignore the fact that he promoted those people in Texas chasing down the bus. Don't worry about that part, Susie. You just worry about this part over here. Or, Susie, we voted for him in the last election just because we just couldn't bring ourselves to vote for Hillary Clinton. She's terrible.
Why? Because she was a woman. She had the best resume.
No, Susie, this is what we did. We held our noses and we voted for 45 because we just couldn't bring ourselves to vote for Hillary. Explain that to your children, okay?
I don't even want to talk about the Hillary thing.
It was just an example. Just an example.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that alone.
Because
I love you guys, and you're bringing out something in me today that I've been trying not to say, and I needed to hear it all over again. Like, seriously.
Yeah. So Mary's getting ready to adopt a puppy, and you know how you have to go down to the puppy shelter place and get a license for a dog. I think people should have licenses to have children.
Yes.
Because everybody
said that a long time ago. God bless her.
Everybody's not equipped to have and raise children. That's for sure. All right.
A friend of mine who's no longer with me said this: just because you have the parts doesn't mean you should reproduce. God rest her soul.
Is it true?
Absolutely. So, Jeannine, do you have any parting words for us and our audience today? And what do you want them to know? Oh, by the way, everybody that's watching this video, go to Jeannine Lake's website and donate.
Please.
I don't care if it's $10. I don't care if it's $5. Donate to her and support her. And we are going to continue to support her down the road as well. Jeannine?
Well, I was just gonna say it's Jeannine Lee Lake for Congress.com, and thank you all very much, you and Vanessa and Mary, for having me on again. I appreciate all your every member that's a part of this group that would like to donate. And then I also have I have a political page called on Facebook called Jeannine Lee Lake for Indiana, and then I've had a personal page which is public. I've had that I think since Mark Zuckerberg let non-Harvard people in. It's like I had some interns like in 2007 that made me this Facebook thing. I don't even know really what it's about, but they made me a page, and so I've had it forever. And so I keep that page too, but that's kind of personal, faith, fun, thing, that kind of thing. But my real policy only page is Jeannine Lee Lake for Indiana. So anything that you could do to donate still at this point, we are in a push. We're doing a lot of digital. We're not on TV because we just didn't have millions of dollars for that. But we did a texting program, which is reaching thousands of people every day. We have about 800,000 people. I'm sorry, 720,000 people in this district, and we just have impressions that's going out on their texting platforms. And we've got we do have some other things that are also into the realm of those people that have not yet voted. So we're still spending money that we have, and we've got some things to wrap up with this campaign. On Wednesday, we did 19 counties in 19 days, and so I am getting tired. We've got about two, 3 more days and 2, 3 more counties, but I'm in it to win it. I can't say thanks enough. I appreciate your prayers, your support, your encouragement, and we're here for change. And I know that Indiana, if we don't do a blue tsunami or even like the blue wave, we're going to get a lot of. We're going to make this state definitely. It's not red anymore. It's going to be a nice shade of lavender and purple.
Nice shade of lavender and purple. Look at that, right? So,
a friend of mine said he's donating to your campaign. Get done.
Yeah, and several of our friends have already donated before this call earlier today when I put out the, and it's just been amazing. And this is what we have to do. We have to keep doing this.
Jamie, done.
Thank you very much. We're going to get it done, and thank you guys very much. How about this? When I went on Tuesday, you got to call me. I'll go on this show first because it is going to be a huge story.
Yes.
If God has it for me to win, I do trust God. I know that I have a place in leadership. If it's this coming Tuesday, I accept it. I'm really ready for it. I feel but he said, in his word, no good thing will I withhold from you. So if it's good for me to win on Tuesday, I'll win.
That's right. And we're going to be online starting at 6:00 on Tuesday. And we're going to stay online as long as we possibly can. And we're going to be watching the returns. I'm going to be live tweeting on Twitter while we're watching the news and the phone and Facebook. And we're just going to keep that momentum going. And we're going to be watching your returns. Okay.
Okay. Well, that sounds great. And thank you guys again for the.
And when you win, we're coming to see you in DC.
We are coming.
I love it. I really will love it. Thank you guys so much. I felt energized in my soul. I really do. I feel something in there. Mary, when you run, let me know because I'm going to be there because you just stirred something in me.
You're talking to Vanessa too much.
Oh my God. I was like, when you look and replay this, I was like, this lady is like really hitting it for me.
Yeah.
And I've been on the stop for a while, but I was like, that whole, things about your daughter and the healthcare, and then just, it's so real and passionate. And that's what people are looking for, is someone with a genuine story that doesn't sound medically canned. And because it's not, it's genuinely your story, and it's their story too.
Mm-hmm. And that's the Mary's story is the example of the kinds of stories we should hear at the State of the Union address.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the kind of stories we should hear. Yeah. All right, we're gonna let you go, Jeannine. Thank you so much for being here today. We admire you. We love you. We support you, and you haven't heard the last from us.
All right. Well, love to you all too. God bless you.
God bless.
All right.
Bye. Thank you everybody for watching.
All right. Bye-bye.
You ladies can hang on for a quick second.
Oh, hang on.